Arriving in 3, 2, 1.
Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu for this Saturday we have Star Ghost, a shoot 'em up that recently released on the Wii U. So what kind of taste will this indie title from Squarehead Studios go and have? Let's get cooking and find out. So after going and pressing start, we're dropped off at the launch screen for the title. Here we can go and press the plus button to go and look at the flight school basically, which is just the tutorial as far as how the game goes and works, but it's relatively simple so we don't have to worry too much about that. We'll just go and jump right into it.
Get ready.
So first off, you might notice that I'm restricted in movement to just one vertical plane. That is indeed correct. The movement in this game is definitely simpler than your standard shoot 'em up. Here we just go and use the A button to go and move up and release it to go and move down. And that's just the basis of how we go and move. There's also the shots that we're going and firing. Those are actually on auto fire, so we're not going and controlling where in particular we're going and firing. Or rather, when we're firing, we're actually constantly firing. And also, we don't really have much control over the rate of fire that we go and have. That's actually controlled by power-ups that we can go and obtain throughout the course of the stage. Or, we can also purchase power-ups at the end of the stage after the results screens here, based off of how many credits we have, which are represented in the top right in all those blue orbs that we were picking up. So, first off, let's go ahead and pick up a fire rate upgrade. Since we are auto-firing, the faster our fire rate is, the better off we'll go and be against the enemies. We also can go and pick up power-ups that upgrade our bullet spread. So, those are the basics of the movement and the firing mechanics for the title. We also go and have one other ability that we can go and actively control, and that's our traction field, which we can go and deploy, and right now it's not upgraded so it's really small, but it goes and basically deploys a little tractor field around your ship that you can go and pull in power-ups, which are extremely important for being able to go and successfully progress through the title itself. So now we need to move on to a part about the upgrade power-up system that I'm not really a fan of personally. So as long as you're going and shooting in a stage, the two main power-ups that we go and get, the fire rate and the bullet spread, are going in decaying.
Traction field upgraded. Get ready.
And part of the reason I go and feel that is a problem is the stages are dynamically generated, so there's a sense of randomness to everything that's going and being generated, and that goes and includes the power-ups. So through no fault of your own, you might be going and losing overall strength because the enemies aren't going and dropping the particular power-up that you need to go and continue on at the level that you're at. And to a long-time shoot-'em-up fan like myself, that's something that's kind of frustrating. I can go and understand losing power if you go and get hit or if you go and die, but through no fault of your own, going and losing power is a little bit frustrating. There is a way to go and kind of stave that off to a certain degree. If you're going and using your traction field, then the fire rate and the spread don't decay, but you're losing the traction field, which is probably the better of the two as far as the compromise is concerned, but still, it's a little frustrating, annoying, hard to go and say, but it's kind of along those lines.
Arriving in 3, 2, 1.
So we finish the first system and move on to our second, Beetlejuice, Sector 2-1. The game itself does go and have a really pleasing, almost like wireframe neon aesthetic to it, and especially the design of your ship. I mean, the enemy designs are really interesting and fun as well, but the design of your ship in particular, I think, is different and intriguing. That disc shape, you can even kind of see there's that spinning disc inside the core of your ship itself, and little things like that that are really fun. You might have gone and noticed further back in this stage, I went passed up a red biohazard power-up. Those ones aren't actually power-ups, they're power-downs, as it were.
Fire rate downgraded.
Viruses that can go and mess up your ship's systems, going and basically paralyzing your ship and locking out all your weapons until the virus has gone and run its course.
Great landing.
Which, depending, seems to go and result in two outcomes. Either the virus is just eliminated, or it goes and implodes and that explosion goes and deals damage to enemies on the screen. I'm not sure quite how to go and trigger the second effect though, so it seems random, and it can go and be a little bit frustrating, not knowing what you're actually going to go and end up with.
Traction field upgraded.
So overall, the simpler control scheme of the title, just going and pressing A to go and move up, releasing it to go down. You do actually have the ability to slightly aim up or down, going and using the left stick.
Optimum bullet
I think
spread.
is really good for making the game accessible to all individuals. Although that kind of a control scheme where we only have limited control over our movement on the stage is a little bit frustrating to a long-time shoot-'em-up player like myself. I would actually like to be able to go and move around the screen with more freedom than what I'm given with the control scheme, but I do go and feel that it goes and makes the title very accessible to those who might not go and be your more standard hardcore shoot-'em-up fan. So I can definitely go and appreciate it for what it is, even if I don't feel that it's for me personally.
Get ready.
But the upgrade system is something that I do have a personal beef with, and this stage in particular is a perfect example of that. So as I mentioned, the stages are dynamically generated, randomly generated, and so we don't necessarily always know what we're going to go and be getting power-up wise. And there have been times when I've gone through these asteroid fields in particular where you have to go and shoot constantly, but due to the pickups that are going and being dropped or the utter lack thereof, I've gone and ended up going and losing quite a bit of power throughout the course of the stages. I've picked up some spread power-ups this time, but I've gone and lost fire rate, despite going and destroying quite a few enemies. So, once again, just going and noting that frustration where, through no fault of your own, you're going and becoming weaker in a title, just doesn't go and sit well
Weapons
with
safe.
me as far as shoot-'em-ups are concerned.
Sector clear. Great landing. Upgrade available. Spending feels good.
Spending feels good.
Get ready.
Some of the voice clips that they go and say throughout the course of the stage are definitely fun, though. And also, with the way that the control scheme is, sometimes tight navigation, like what we go and have here, is actually difficult to accomplish.
Optimum bullet spread.
Still, we made it through alright, so that's no reason to go and get too salty. Let's go and pick up a virus so we can kind of see what the effect is. So we go and pick up the virus, our weapons go offline, and
Weapons restored.
hey, it imploded, and we're back in good shape.
Fire rate downgraded.
So one thing that's nice about the traction field is it does not go and pick up viruses, so you don't have to worry about accidentally sucking those into you. In fact, it is actually possible to go and get another power-up called the repulsion field that goes and pushes those away from you. And there are a couple other power-ups that I've gone and seen. You can go and pick up a super-powered laser from one of the enemies that we're actually about to encounter. In addition to that, you can also go and pick up a shield regen. By the way, our shield strength is actually represented by the plus at the bottom of the screen, so just something to go and keep in mind.
Good.
So we've completed the 4 stages of this sector, so normally we'd be going and jumping to the next sector, but after the first one you go actually get bosses at the end, these sentinels. And at least the couple that I've fought seem to go and be similar in you have to go and survive evasion section, and after the evasion section is finished, we'll get our chance to go and take pot shots at this guy. Or, well, I wish it was that simple, but it's not really.
Weapons hot.
Now is our turn. Fortunately, I'm in pretty good strength for this guy. Well, I was.
Virus detected.
No!
Weapons offline.
Viruses! No good, no good. Implode? Maybe? Maybe? No implosion.
Virus eliminated. Weapons restored. The Sentinel is preparing to jump.
And he got away.
The Sentinel has left the system. Weapons safe.
Oh well. So if you do go and defeat the enemy, he usually goes and drops a really nice power-up as well as a lot of the credits that are our currency for the title. So it's too bad that he got away. We are close, 88%. And no upgrades available. Thrust to launch.
System clear. Prepare to jump.
Alright, so with that being the first two stages, basically, of Star Ghost, I'll go ahead and start to go and wrap things up. So my overall thoughts on the title, I think it's a fun title, and as far as more casual shoot-'em-up fans or just casual video game players in general, it's a really accessible and easy title to go and get into. But for a more hardcore shoot-'em-up fan like myself and others, I'm not sure I would go and recommend this one. I don't feel that it's personally for me. There are just too many things about the way that the game is designed that it goes and irks me a little bit. Another thing that I do have to go and note that I was a little bit disappointed on, the thing that actually caught my attention about this title is the composer for the soundtrack is David Wise. He used to go and work for Rare and did the soundtrack for some of my favorite titles on the Super Nintendo and others in that era, particularly Battletoads and Battlemaniacs. So I was a little bit disappointed with the soundtrack of the title itself. But since it fits the game and it's not a bad soundtrack, it's just atmospheric and it doesn't really go and it's not memorable, I guess is what I'm trying to go and say. So the overall simple control scheme and the soundtrack are things that were disappointments to me about the title. But overall, I think it is a fun and definitely accessible shoot 'em up, so I can go and recommend it on those strengths. Well, that'll go and wrap it up today for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me. And as always, if you go and have other shoot 'em ups that you would recommend I go and check out for my channel, by all means, please go and leave those in the comments below. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for coming out and joining me, and I'll go and see you again next week.